Yay, happy midweek, people.
I don't know when it's gonna happen where all four of us are together again, but shit happens. Um,
Next episode.
let's
Chill
hope so.
out.
And so
What do you mean hope so?
I'll
We're
be,
we're making it so.
I'll be coming from Cali next week, and because I'm in Cali all
Oh, so
next week. I
you
mean,
about to fuck it up
no,
next.
no, no,
Got
we're
it.
still recording. I have my laptop, so we're still recording. That's not an issue at all. Um,
Well, is it a bad time to tell you that I'm on vacation the next week? Mhm. But I'll join still. You know I'm dedicated like that. Anyway,
anyway, first topic up. This is the, you know, when you have like two people who are opposite sides, and it just kind of makes sense that eventually their worlds collide. Alex Jones and Joe Budden. Have you guys
Yeah.
gotten to see these videos yet?
I haven't seen the videos, but I did listen. I listened to Joe earlier about it.
Okay.
So I got the details on it, but I haven't seen any videos on it.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny how it started because it honestly started by something small and minor, and of course Alex Jones just being the red faced monster that he is, and he just yells and screams into the mic. It made sense that it happened, but Mary, what do you think about this?
I don't really know. Put me on. I'm not up on this.
So
Isn't that terrible?
Joe Budden was doing an interview with Andrew Schultz, and he referred to Alex Jones as the KKK guy, and of course Alex Jones had his show in which he said Joe Budden needed to be slapped upside his head. He was a dumbass, uh, and that just typical Alex Jones shit where he just screams a bunch of insults and profane language and thinks he's making a point, which he didn't even say Joe Budden's last name right, so he probably honestly didn't even know who Joe Budden really was. But it's just I mean, it's weird to see, but to you because those two really do completely different things. It's not like Joe Budden's this huge political pundit where he talks a lot about politics. I don't even know if Joe Budden has ever really talked about politics. So it's weird in that sense that they collided, but shit happened. Weird as shit has happened.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Joe on this one. Is like the people that are on Alex's side is the people who never liked Joe Budden in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically where it's at. So anybody, and that's including black people. That's what I mean.
Mhm.
So Um, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but you know what? When it comes to this podcast game and it comes to marketing and having a brand and stuff like that, it wouldn't necessarily hurt to have that type of podcast beef, I guess. Joe always is going to downplay it
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, but he's also going to throw his shots. I don't, it's not as entertaining as the other altercations that Joe has been a part of, and it's kind of weird and left field to me, but it happened. So I don't think it's going to
Mhm.
last too long unless Joe decides to indulge in it a bit more.
I mean, the thing with Joe is it just seems like is this the year of Joe Budden just constantly being in some type of drama? Because it hasn't really stopped for him. It hasn't. Like it's been something all the time. Uh, like even before the like fallout of the podcast and shit. Like it's been a bad stretch for Joe. Now, like I said, Alex Jones didn't really make any sense. He doesn't really have any major points. He didn't like it. It's nothing too big, but these two people who are in this podcasting space, probably two of the largest, and Infowars and Alex Jones has a huge platform. Um, I mean, I could see it possibly turning into something, but I doubt Joe Budden lets it.
But that only helps Joe in it, if anything, because now even the people that may have never heard of Joe Budden or do know of him and don't like him, they're going to tune in just to hear what he has to say about Alex
Yeah.
now. Even if they don't finish the rest of the podcast, they're going to have to wait until he gets to that point. And again, if Joe didn't bring it up, then I wouldn't have known about it unless I would have seen somebody retweet it or post it on IG.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Mary, you got anything left to say on it?
I feel like Joe Biden always is in some mess. I don't necessarily think it's the year of it for him. I think it's like the life of Joe Biden, but I'm kind of over it.
Well, that's the thing. Joe Budden had a nice stretch. Like when the Joe Budden podcast was like, yeah, he had the thing with the Reed and of course the Migos thing. Like, but it
So
wasn't.
y'all didn't watch Love and Hip Hop, huh?
I
That
mean,
was
yeah,
hilarious,
but
though. I still think that's the funniest meme.
oh yeah,
Of,
for sure.
like top 10 for me of him walking away, because I felt that energy. Like, nigga, I'm not
Just
about
think of how
to.
much stuff came from just that altercation. So we had, of course, the Joe Budden walking off meme, the
Hmm.
Nadeska and DJ Academics reacting to that.
Yeah,
Then we had the
yeah, and the
Migos
people, and
standing
the
up
people,
meme, and then the
and the
then the
people in the
woman in the
background.
background, the nosy woman meme. So we had a lot of memes come up from just that altercation. It's definitely going down in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, Joe, but at this point is normal. But like I said, I'm kind of like on his side this time. I'm not sure where it came from, but this was one of those things. It feel like it almost feels like Alex was just trying to get, I don't know, just grab some quick ratings real
Yeah,
quick.
the thing, and that's with everyone, every like major um right leaning political pundit at this point. Ever since Trump got out of office, it seems like a lot of them are grasping for whatever they can to keep interest into their platforms. Alex Jones,
Hmm.
who's the other guy with the weird voice? I always forget his name. He owns the Daily Wire. What the fuck is that bastard's name? Fuck it, I don't even. It doesn't matter at this point. But it just seems like a lot of people on that side are doing things. What do you want to call them? Publicity stunts or whatever else to try to
Hmm.
gain to keep momentum for their platforms. Because I mean, when Trump was in office, they got a sound bite or something every single week that they could use. And it seems like now without that constant stream of shit, they're just they're trying to find what they can.
Yeah, I hope he's smart enough not to. I mean, unless he knows how to. If he feels like he wants to play that game and that he could win it, then go ahead. Because I got an ego too. But like, just I don't know. That was weird. That was weird.
Ben
That just gives
Shapiro,
other
that's what I
and
was
they,
thinking about. Ben Shapiro.
oh yeah, yeah, that dude. Yeah, that's the character too,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. All right, let's move.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that craziness. First, not the first thing. Second thing that we got on our list today, Shakari Richardson, who's going to be missing out on being able to compete in the Olympics due to testing positive for weed. Um, I talked a little bit about this on my podcast this week, so I'm really going to turn this over to you guys. I just want to say this thing of I understand the conversation that's being had of if weed and weed products should still be on the list of things that can get you taken out, if it can still be held against you. It's legal in so many states now. I think like it's going to be legal in most states, if not all states, within probably the next 10 years. And so it's still being this thing to where it's held over people's head. And in the state that she resides in and she tested in, it is legal. Now, what I will say on the flip side of that is, regardless of that conversation of the rules needing to be updated. The rules are what they are. She was aware of them. She broke the rules. So I can understand it from both sides on this. And I think the conversation that really needs to be had is when can we get this and what do we need to do to get the shit updated to where marijuana isn't used against athletes anymore. But Baylor, I'll come to you first on this one. As the resident edible expert on this podcast, what's your opinion on it?
Besides that, I'm against it totally. Like I don't, I'm at the point where like I don't give a shit about those rules. We already know they outdated. And this
Mm-hmm.
the cool part about it is, all right. So y'all going to suspend her for marijuana usage, and again, whether or not her I would say her reasoning was felt or heard, she didn't really. To me personally, I don't really think she needed reasoning to do it because y'all are allowing. Oh man, so you can't you can't have marijuana in your system, but you could change genders,
Mm.
and that's allowed. I have a problem with that. You know what I mean? So, and then what further pisses me off is that we know eventually they're going to take that off of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So the thing that bothers me the most is that y'all stopping this young girl from possibly shattering some records at a young age.
Yeah.
Now she has to maintain her athleticism For what, the next 4 years?
3 because this Olympics got delayed because of COVID. So
Okay.
we're only 3 years between this and the next Olympics. Is usually 4.
I mean that's where I stand. So, like right now, again, we can have an average male athlete decide that he wants to be a woman and go down there and shatter all those records. You know what I mean? Without any question behind it. But she had, and this is not even an enhancement. Don't get me wrong. Mentally, I get creative. That's not going to help me break anything physically. It's not going to help me break any type of record physically or whatever. It's actually supposed to slow you down and make you relax.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I don't really care about, I can care less about, no, I'm good.
Mary, what do you think?
I say let her run, yo. Like, I feel like, to Baylor's point, right? I don't know any, if that's how fast she ran under the influence of weed, then how, I can only imagine what she would have been like without it. Because if anything, I've only known weed to make people more physically lazy. So, you know, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, to your point, I do understand like rules are rules, blah, blah, blah. I feel like she was very gracious in her apology and her accountability. Um, but it did upset me when I heard earlier today, or was it yesterday, that, because she was suspended for a month. So she still had a chance at being in the relays, and they chose not to put her in that also. And that was kind of upsetting because it was like, but she's doing her 1 month suspension. So, you're doing the country a disservice because we're not being represented by the best. So I think it's all bullshit and boo the Olympics.
Do you think that the publicity from this and the attention gets the Olympic body to update those rules?
I think it'll start
Mm,
making them have conversations. I don't know if it's going to get across the finish line. See what I did there? But
I
yeah.
think that was a good one. I think it's a start. I think it's a start. You know what I mean? I think if this was an established runner already, a household name, then yes. You know what I mean? But I also feel like, there's some other countries clapping right now.
That's for sure. That's for sure.